Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Jacob's Ladder. Another live, amazing, insane broadcast that will indeed make you question exactly what is going on in the world. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got the Trumpster back in the news. We got DeSantis. We got chemical plants blowing up all over the place. And we got a lot of out-of-this-world information to get to. Take a look at the thumbnail. Let me say hi to everybody. Let's get a little bit of an audio check. Make sure everything is working good. I want to make sure that I see all of you, your beautiful faces. Because I know that this is one of those shows that you're all going to be very excited to hear about. Some of you just got the notification. I'm really happy to hear that. It's good that people are getting notifications because who knows what's happening today. You know, it's whether or not YouTube, by the way, under new rule, Susan's gone. So hopefully things will get even better around here, especially because we got so much stuff. Okay. All right. So listen, in Revelation chapter 20, I'll just show it to you really quick, because there's so much to get into, but I just want to give you a little bit of a start here. There's this disturbing passage about people losing their heads. Okay? It's not a great thing. All the saints and everything else, the enemies of God, we'll say the dragon, the devil, everybody that has the witness of Christ, well, the enemy comes against, cuts off their heads. Not a good thing. But in this last time where there's this rule of 1,000 years, they all come back. That's what Revelation 11:11 is like. God breathes life back into the witnesses of God so they can stand on their feet and they can give their testimony. And what a testimony we have today. So, I find it interesting that the Trumpsters, he's calling for guillotines. What is that about, right? I put a tweet out about this. I said, after Pilate washed his hands of Christ, the religious people cheered as the government sent Christ to die. When he was crucified, Golgotha, the place of the skull, where they put him to death. They wanted Jesus Barabbas. They didn't want the Prince of Peace. They wanted the revolutionary. They wanted the guy who was all about fighting, make America great again, stuff like that. And there's a revival actually going on in the land at the same time that all of this stuff is happening. I say it's interesting. Very interesting. We're going to also talk about zombies today. Yeah, why not? We've been talking about zombies a lot, and people have been tweeting out things about zombies. There's something going on with all of these chemical spills. It's very suspect. But this was disturbing to me. He wants swift justice in the land. That's the thing. He's like, I've talked about this before. I told people to watch out for this. I said that this could be, coming down the pipe. Save a lot of money. Just have a firing squad, right? Or why don't we just hang people? It's terrible. But people are calling for it, and they are cheering for it, and that makes me a little concerned. Makes me concerned because if we're entering into this time, you would see some of this stuff happening. Now, what's weird about this swift call for justice that the Trumpster is calling for, that was also in Back to the Future. Ironically, I stumbled across somebody posting about Biff and how, the law works a lot differently today in the future than it used to be. You know that Biff in Back to the Future was based on Donald Trump, right? You do know that. If you look to the right-hand top of the screen, you'll see it says, within 2 hours of his arrest, Martin McFly Jr. was tried, convicted, and sentenced to 15 years in a state penitentiary. Within 2 hours, Marty said. Doc says the justice system works swift in the future. Now they've abolished all lawyers. Yeah. That's weird, right? I find that strange, don't you? Abolishing all lawyers. You know what's weirder still? That's in my novel. Yeah. that the rules and the laws and the courts changed when the leader takes over. Very strange. Very strange. Back to the Future. Saw Biff Tannen. This is the thing. Did you see the date of all this? Right? The date of all this. It's could it be coming? Is this all starting to unfold in front of us? Back to the Future? Are we going back to the future? Has this happened already? Are we just reliving the same thing over and over again? I don't know. Is time travel a thing? Is Donald Trump a time traveler? You know, this is something that was kind of talked about. I've talked about how a lot of people think that Donald Trump is a time traveler because of Uncle John. I think that's his name. His Uncle John was like a very brilliant guy. And in 1943, after Nikola Tesla died, this is the right-hand side of the screen, by the way, in the New York City hotel, the FBI called MIT professor and esteemed electrical engineer John G. Trump to determine if any of the belongings in the investor's estate, which included purported weapons of mass, destruction, a death ray. Some people think that there was also plans for a time machine. Or maybe there was a time machine. Who knows? Ironically, Baron Trump, the time-traveling conspiracy that went viral, that's the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. There's a bunch of books about the last president, the marvelous underground journey of Baron Trump. That's Donald Trump's son's name, for those who don't know. But why is this interesting? Because Elon also just tweeted out, just a couple of days ago, who controls the future controls the present, with a question mark. And then I wrote, Biff is going to be president and the courts are going to change. Hashtag seriously. Ooh, the plot thickens. The plot thickens. Now we have time-traveling presidents that are going to get rid of the court system, perhaps. Swift judgment. That could actually happen. Yeah, with the things the way they are right now, people are so scared and they're so stressed out and they're so anxious that they probably just want someone to say, it's going to be okay, we're going to take care of things. Nonstop on social media, all you see is violence. See people doing violent acts, terrible violent acts, and it's so scary. It really bums me out. I can't stand looking at it. Tell me in the live chat too if you're having a problem with all of it. It does seem to be something that's very concerning. And why wouldn't it be concerning? Besides, chemical plants going up one after the other. It's very strange. All of this stuff is so strange. Now, the thing with Trump and the time traveling, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. But you know what else was crazy? Was back in the day when everybody thought that he was going to win and I told everybody, no, I had this weird dream. Remember this dream? Remember this? If you're new to the channel, I got a lot of weird things that go down. I got a lot of weird dreams and stuff and that I share. And then I kind of speculate. Clearly, over the years, you can see 2 years, 1 year. This is all about 2 years, almost 3 years ago. I started sharing these strange things. On October 10th, 2020, before everything went down, I said, will they try to fake it? There's a picture of Trump looking at a coffin. But really, it had more to do with the political landscape of things. It's going to look like he's going to lose it all. And then, of course, as the months and days progressed, everybody got stressed out. Everybody was freaked out. Everybody was saying there was all sorts of weird things that went down. They weren't real. Interference by other governments. We have a lot of evidence that seems to point in the direction that not everything was on the up and up. Some people say it's a conspiracy. Some people say it's... But what do we know, right? We don't know. We only know what they tell us. And they tell us so many lies today that it's hard to keep track. But I told everybody, I said, you watch them come back. When no one was saying this, when everybody was crying foul, I said, what if this is all part of the plan? Either that Or God was just basically saying he's going to come back, things are going to be good. But I got a problem with firing squads. I got a problem with swift justice. I got a problem with that. I don't know how you can be pro-life and pro-death at the same time. I don't know how that works. But, today there's a whole movement in Christianity that seems to be pushing for such. And it's strange to me. Doesn't seem very legit. But if you take a look, you see there's a lot of witchcraft going on. Do you know what MAGA means, actually? In Latin, it means witch, sorcerer, wizard. Yeah, it does. Trump even has a magic wand. Now, I know that when I say these things, people think that I'm bashing the man. I'm not. I don't know. I just know that right now, a lot of people are saying, oh, it looks like DeSantis is going to win. Looks like DeSantis is going to win. And everybody wants DeSantis, right? Everybody seems to want this man. And what happens? The guy who came up with the old wackadoo, the guy who pushed it through, got it through really quick at warp speed of all things. How's he going to win against DeSantis? Everybody loves him in the Republican Party, it seems, right? We're going to get there because there's a way around this, right? Would it be interesting if they ran together? But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be Tulsi Gabbard, to be honest. That's my goal. But here's the thing. We have so much weird stuff going on. We have to talk about the chemical fires. We got to talk about the zombies. Why do we have to talk about the zombies? Because what was it, yesterday? Elon put out a kind of a survivor tip for all of us. Who here saw this in the live chat? Did all of you see this? Oh, by the way, barely any of you hit the like. You know why? Because I forgot to remind you. Like literally, barely any of you hit the like. I don't know if you remember or not, but if you could just while I'm talking right now, I promise I won't go too far ahead. If you just X out of chat, just hit that like button for me. What that does is it tells YouTube, look, more people should be watching this because it's a good show. And I'm telling you, this is a good show and it's going to get really weird. All right, I see the likes going up right now. I really appreciate it. I got to tell you, I don't think all you really know how essential it is. This is not just me doing this, by the way. This is us doing this. We're in this together. If you're not sharing and you're not commenting and you're not liking, then what I share is true and helpful to people, it's not going anywhere. I need you. We're together. We're a team. There's no I in team, baby. But there is a zombie in Elon Musk's last post. So listen, if you're worried about zombies, just hook up a bunch of treadmills around your house. And you know what else you could do? If you could, this would taking it a step further. If you could set that up with some kind of a generator, you'd have nonstop electricity too. Zombies will power your home. So this is a good thing. But you know what's weird? It's weird because just 3 days ago, I did a show about zombies. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I don't know what it is. I think that more people enjoy the live format than they do the produced videos. I enjoy doing the produced videos because I want to give you something that's clean and perfect and kind of to the point and sharp. But it seems like more people kind of like this. So you got to tell me in the comment section whether or not you want to see more live shows or if you want to see more produced shows, because I promise you the produced shows are a lot harder for me. And but I feel like I want to give you the best, So it's strange that we have Elon talking about zombies. We had all that. If you want to watch that show, you should. Once again, there it is. Just go to my video section and you can watch it. You'll be amazed at all the strange things, right? If you look at that right-hand thumbnail, 2023 backwards is 322. And that's also the symbol of the skull and bones, which also happens to be the symbol of like toxic spills and things. Weird, because we have them everywhere now. Out of control, actually. Out of control. Not just here. Do you know that back in, there was the big one that happened in China first? Everything kind of seems to start in China. I don't know if you've noticed this. Kind of seems to start there and then trickles on everywhere else. There's also weird talk, by the way, of there's some weird stuff going around about zombies over there too. But a lot of the footage that they're sharing online, it's stuff that's already been shared and I've already covered. So I think that people are just rehashing this. Really, the only zombie that I say that really matters is the fact that we're walking around like mindless drones, just listening and doing whatever we're told, going from one crisis to the next that keeps us occupied. It's not so great, not so great. So we had another one at Kissimmee, massive nursery fire where lots of plastics and lots of chemicals were burning. There was another one just in Russia. There was another one that just went down again and again and again. Of course, why, right? Why are we seeing all this? It's just, and these fires, they're like the smoke going up. It's just so disturbing. It's so, just looks like they're doing something to the environment. I kind of laid out the idea like maybe they're trying to, kill off life. Maybe something's gotten out of hand there. But I had a friend of mine who had an interesting idea, which really kind of terrified me, and it was terraforming. Yeah, perhaps terraforming is going on. I thought that's an interesting idea. Interesting. What are they terraforming for then? The question becomes, what kind of life forms need that kind of environment? I've talked about terraforming. I said that that's what all the trails are for. If you got some kind of an alien race, which by the way, they could be demons, they could be fallen angels, they could be nothing at all. None of this could be happening. It could all just be, we're just being controlled, and it is a big experiment for all we know. We could be on a petri dish somewhere. Some people think we are. But could they be terraforming? Could this be some kind of a change to the environment? I said, what was it, in 2019 or 20? I said, the finale begins. I said, the next year, they're going to say that, UFOs are real. And they did. And then they're going to start to release more and more information to get us ready for it. And then they did. And now we had the panic, the UFO panic that just went down. Weird. You know what else is weird? Speaking of Elon Musk. Okay. Here, before we get into that, let me just show you this. Yeah, that's Kim Kardashian over there with all of her alien friends. How about them apples? So strange. Hey, and thank you for hitting the like. Okay, now we got half of the people have hit the like button. That is a big help. If even more can hit the like, we get more people here. You see how people come? Oh, it's a beautiful thing. So what do you think about this? This is her, I guess she has some kind of a skincare line called Skim or whatever. I don't know if they're selling bathing suits now, but clever marketing by Kardashian, who many think is an alien already, which is strange. Maybe she is, or maybe she's a time traveler like Trump. Who knows? But, terraforming, what it is basically taking an environment and changing it. You know who's a big fan of terraforming? Is Elon. That's right. He has on his he wants to terraform Mars. I said as a goof a while ago, because I think I read it wrong. I said maybe they're trying to terraform Earth to be more like that climate instead. Wouldn't that be something? But it would be weird to think that perhaps these guys, these powerful people, the people that have so much money and so much power and so much, it would be weird to think that they have some kind of inside scoop, right? No, it wouldn't be weird. You would expect them to know what's going on. And do you know back in 2019, that's a rune stone, I guess. It's, obviously I don't think it's a real one, but do you know who put that out there? That's Elon's girl, Grimes. Really cool artist, cool music, very smart young lady. She's big time into gaming. She's big time into a lot of stuff. She wants to become like like an eternal elf or something. She's into tech, really into tech. But I think it was around 2019 or so, she put out this random, weird little rune stone. And it had a lot of weird stuff on it, like a lot of weird stuff. Now, in the bottom right-hand corner, you see that that's a thumbnail of a video I did over 2 years ago. And you'll see where it says 9/2 2019, September 2019. That's a picture of Grimes in a really cool video that she did where the video starts out and she's reading The Art of War. Later versions of the video had the cover title blurred out, which was weird to me. But The Art of War, and then the video progresses and they all dance and they're wearing masks. And as they're dancing, it looks like they're coughing and gagging for air, and it was very disturbing. Did a whole show about it. At the same time, this is when Elon had Deus Ex as his avatar. So the whole video was really kind of about, are today's events connected? And were they in the know? Well, at the same time that all was going down, Grimes puts out this runestone. And it looks like it predicted it. Once again, now this is weird, because if you look at the top up right-hand corner, you'll see what looks like a virus, followed by 3 shots equals a UFO. What is going on? Did she predict it? Did she know? Strange. But you know what's stranger? Is right beneath it, you see a knife cutting a strand of DNA. And then you see a cigarette burning. Cigarettes contain a lot of chemicals. That's suspect to me. You tell me if you think I'm making a bit too much about this. But I figured when I saw this randomly, I said, oh, the algorithm's trying to show me something, or God's trying to show me something, or what a lucky accident, right? But it's strange. Now, I'm going to blow up this picture for you because I want us to kind of just take a look at all of the weird images here so that we can see what it is that we're working with here. Okay, let's see if we can. I'm going to pull this over. All right, so you see the 3 wackadoos equals the UFO. Then you see somebody's angry, then they're shocked, then they're very sick, then they're happy, everything's cool, right? In between 2 dragons is a flower, but then at the bottom, look at these. Biohazards, exclamation point, the end. What's going on, Grimes? If you're watching, you should tell everybody if you're in on something, if you know something. You think they would tell us if they did? And then we got chemical fires everywhere. But not just chemical fires everywhere, but we have, it's like, do they know? Do they know? And are zombies going to be a thing? I don't know. I just think that life is so fun. We might as well have a little bit of fun looking at it, but this does disturb me. The cigarette burning, it does disturb me because right now we have so many chemical fires going on. All of these things that are happening at this time are quite peculiar and odd. Do you think that like Kim Kardashian and all this, are they waiting for the aliens? When Elon used to wear that shirt, it says Occupy Mars. I thought instead of it like we need to occupy Mars, it was a shirt saying Mars is going to occupy Earth. Occupy now, right? Strange. He's the imperator of Mars. He gave himself that title, the ruler. Like Pilate was the imperator, a ruler appointed by Rome. All these things. He brought the sink in to wash his hands. And now we see a revival going on. And now we hear Trump calling for the guillotine? Swift judgment? Someone who's accused of a crime, that's it? It's very strange. We are biding our time, though, are we not? So, how do we deal with DeSantis? How do we deal with all this? Because look, if the people that are in charge, they're not dumb, right? They're not dumb. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They know how to get us to think. I mean, look, so much money is spent. I think Obama started something called the Brain Initiative back in the day, where he took all of these behavioral scientists and psychologists and spent a lot of money to find ways to help people, listen to government better, basically. Very strange. I said, we're biding our time. So in this tweet, because this is big news about DeSantis, if you know anything about this guy on the right, Mr. Soros, he's a scary dude, right? He topples governments. Really, like legitimately. He had a pretty terrible youth. He started out, because he's Jewish. He was kind of like somebody that worked for the Nazis, and he was very, very just disturbing. Who knows if this guy's a good guy or not? A lot of people think probably not. Kind of looks like the empire, the emperor. He looks scary to begin with. But so when he was kind of like singing praises, saying that, DeSantis and Trump could be could help the Democrats in a big way, this got a lot of people talking, because what better, like everybody jumped on the bandwagon saying that Soros, that he basically endorsed DeSantis. It's not what happened. But that's the way I took it. Like I was reading everything. I'm like, wow. And then I listened to the guy talk. I actually said that his part needs to be recast. If you read my tweet, by the way, I'm Jacob Israel 71 on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, Jacob Israel 71, check me out on Twitter, will you? I post a lot more there than anywhere else. He used to be a believable villain, I said, but his performance lately is subpar. How anyone believes any of this is beyond me. But of course, it's one heck of a breadcrumb. He's reading from a script. We got to take a look at this. Give me a second. Let me see if I can pull this up. I believe we got like over 1,600 people here. You know why? Because you all hit the like button, because you guys are all so cool. All right, so let's play some of this. And let's, I don't know if you can hear this okay.
To him with
just play this down. I mean, the guy looks lost when he's talking to begin with. To be honest, I really don't even want to. I don't even want to hear this guy talk.
Party under his control by threatening those who didn't swear loyalty to him with a.
I don't know. You know what I'm going to do? It's on my Twitter. If you want, you can check it out. Oh, there we go. Look at this though. This I do want to play for you. Hang on a second. Let me put this back. Now here's the weird thing. Because, so many people compared DeSantis to Trump to begin with. Look at their hand gestures, right? It's almost identical. It is freaky, as Vincent Kennedy said, who I think just got back on Twitter. I don't know him. 4VKM recommended him, and he puts out some really cool tweets. But look at this. I thought it would be cool if they were clones. Like DeSantis was like the younger version. Obviously, I don't really think that, but very strange, though. Very strange that these two men are just kind of pitted up against each other. So strange. All of this stuff is so strange. Ironically, the two of them, he calls DeSantis a meatball, which I got a little offended by because we all know, look, there's only one meatball that's out there today on YouTube, and that's me. So him calling DeSantis a meatball, maybe DeSantis is a good guy then, because I'm a meatball and I know I'm good. But did he endorse him? That would be one way to find out if because that's all it takes. All Trump has to do is like, look, I'm fighting the deep state. Look, they took everything away from me. I lost everything. Really? But did you, though? Did you, though? You ended up starting a huge network called Truth Social. Right now, everything's privately owned, right? Everything's privately owned. We thought that there was all this censorship and all this stuff going down, which, by the way, I covered when it was first starting. Ironically, I had a video where I had a picture of Jones in the center, and I had like a scissor over his head, and I had all of the the Instagram and the Facebook and the Twitter, and I just, like, he was going to get cut off. But the whole video was about how this would be some kind of a big operation to slowly but surely really end up censoring us in the long run. God, I hope that's not the case. But I think it is. I really do think it is. Especially if Trump becomes the president again, then guess what? Guess what? If you've been here for a long time, this we said it was going to happen, right? And by we, I mean me and all the weird stuff that all of you have seen over the years and have shared with me. Like, together, we've uncovered a lot of interesting stuff, but not as interesting as zombies and, terraforming of the planet with chemical burns for the aliens to come down, which turns out, who knows if any of that's really true? Like if there are aliens, who knows? Turns out, what were they shooting down? They were shooting down like, people's balloons, all that money, all that stuff. So then you get to think, what's it all about? Is it getting us ready for something? Well, you know what else is making the news now on a little thing? I don't know what to make of it. I can't tell you, like, my initial reaction to it is, this is what we'd expect to see happening. It would be kind of like a revival, but not really the right one, if you know what I mean. And if you don't know about this revival that's going down, starts off, it's the Asbury Revival. Now, a lot of people have had some problems with some of the people that preach there and everything else because of orientation, and other people have said other things. But this revival, like today's news, Mike Pence is coming out and sharing how that college moved him spiritually. Tucker Carlson said that this is amazing, that people are turning to spiritual life to counter the evil that's in the world. Tucker Carlson, who also is being outed because of his text messages. There's a big lawsuit going on, and they're saying that the people over at Fox really didn't believe in the things that Trump was saying. But Tucker did say that he was like demonic. Trump, look this up, that he was like demonic, and that he's a destroyer. He's a destroyer. That was the word Carlson used. I wish I pulled this to show you. But that's interesting, right? Interesting that Tucker Carlson, who you would think, like, Trump loves Tucker, or would seem like it, would privately say that the man is a demonic force and that he's a destroyer. It's wild. It's wild. But is it true? That's the thing. Who knows? Like, what if he's a good guy? What if, that's the thing that troubles me sometimes, is that when I have this dream and all of these things, is it God's way of showing me, look, corruption is going to come against him, and then in the end, he's going to be celebrating, because in the dream, what ended up happening was he was in a coffin. It was covered in swamp moss. This is how we knew politically it had to do with political death. And then on the other hand, he was like dancing and having a good old time, like he was in on a joke. I don't know. You got to tell me in a comment section if you think, because it looks like this is where we're going. We're heading towards him being the president again. Remember, he joked about being the last president. Did videos on this too. He had this one little meme going around, not a meme, a little video going around where you see all the terms and all the dates and all the years that he is actually president. And it goes on forever. If he was a time traveler, that could be true. Interesting. So, is this revival a real thing? You know, they say that there's going to be a massive falling away before the truth is revealed. But when you have people that consider themselves to be Christian saying, I'm no longer going to turn the other cheek, which is a tenet of the faith, you got to question whether or not they're actually really following the child of God, the Son of God, whether they're really following Jesus Christ. Considering he said to turn the other cheek. And you have so many people, including Don Jr., Jack Poseback, all these guys saying these things. Now, Jesus had a problem with religion. By the way, that's not even his name, just so you know. Jesus, it was changed. It's like it's a different version of it. It's closer to Zeus, actually. But Joshua would be a better English translation today from Yahshua. Forget about all that. Let's not get hung up in the names. But in the scriptures, let me pull this up. Let me see if I even have it. Oh, I don't even have it available. Hang on a second. Let me get it available for you. In Matthew 23, we found out very clearly that, Jesus, he spoke like once in the temple. He spoke once in the temple. He read from the book of Isaiah, where he says that the prophecy was fulfilled in your ear, to loose the bonds of those, to help those that are hungry, to help those that are widows, to set at liberty those that have been lost, to help those that are blind to see. So Jesus, he read this. It's the first time. They call him rabbi, teacher, but no one even knew where he was. All they knew was he was a carpenter's son. That'd be like, he's the electrician's son or the plumber's son. Isn't that the guy that lived down the street? He's over here saying that he's God's son. Come on. But then he said, the scripture is fulfilled in your ears. Like, this is it. I'm the fulfillment. Today, Jesus would say, we're the fulfillment. Because as I am, so are you in this world, the scriptures say. So, he left. He left religion. That was the thing. He told people to get out. Get out of her. Come out of her. Come out of her. So when you see this revival going down and people are going to her, and once again, I don't think it's a bad thing. Everybody has to go to John the Baptist first. The Baptist, right? He's in the wilderness. Everybody go. Like I went to these services. Like I remember when I worked at Daystar. I was the writer there. Loved the people there. What a great opportunity it was. And then I got there and I had one revelation after another revelation, and I understood. I saw things completely differently than they did. And I knew that this was going to be a problem. But I knew God had me there for a reason, just like he has us here for a reason. Right where we are right now, in God's hand, we can't, God doesn't fail, right? God doesn't fail. So where we are is exactly where we're meant to be. Where I was at that point in time, exactly where I meant to. But there was a lot of revivals. They talked about the Brownsville Revival. Big deal. But I worked with people who went to these revivals and everything else. Their lives didn't seem to change much. It seemed a lot like, oh, they're singing the same song again and again and again and again. That's what these revivals are. But I don't want to diminish it because I think that it's a good start. When I see this stuff happening, I think it's a good start. But I feel like Jesus wouldn't want you going into the churches. He wanted you to know that that system was torn down. He goes, tear it down. And in 3 days, I'll rebuild it. 3. The number of resurrection. 3. I'll rebuild it. Let me pull this up. Let me just read this to you. Okay, this is from Matthew 23. And Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must be careful to do everything they tell you. Do not do what they do, though, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Church today is a problem. It seems to be a big problem today. I'll read this to you so you can actually see me. Everything they do is done for the people to see. It's all for appearance's sake. They make these gestures wide, and they wear these garments with tassels, and they dress themselves up. They love to sit at the high places at the banquets. They love to take the choice seats. They love to make long prayers. They love it. They love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces. They love when they're called rabbi by others. This is Jesus talking about the religious system. But woe to you, he says, Pharisees, teachers of the law, you hypocrites. You shut the door of the kingdom of God. You don't let anybody in. That's what's being done in the churches today. They shut it down. They say, you got to believe the way we tell you to believe. You got to do. And that there's so many different denominations. Where do you go? You go to Asbury? Is that where you go? And now that this revival is spreading everywhere, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I question it. Because Jesus called us out of the system. He didn't call us to celebrate returning to the system. Because guess what happens? They're in charge of the system. You have to have a relationship with God, not an experience with a bunch of people at a university. But it is what it is. You shut the door to the kingdom of heaven. You yourselves never enter in, nor do you allow others to enter in. You hypocrites, you travel over to land and sea to win one single convert, and then you make them twice the child of hell that you are. And this is what this world system is. It's hell. It's the place of the dead. It's Sheol. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. This is what the system does. It keeps you from knowing God. Keeps you stuck here in this prison. Good news is, Christ came. God so loved the earth, so loved the world, not the earth, cosmos. It's the name of my cat. He so loved the world that he gave his son, not to one, not to two, not to just some people, to all. That through we might understand and have unity and fellowship and enter into that kingdom. The greatest among you, he says, but you are not to be called rabbi, you hypocrites, for you have one teacher, and you are all brothers. This is what Jesus is telling his disciples, do not call anyone on earth father. So much for going to the Catholic Church and calling him father. It's right there in Scripture. Don't call anybody father, for you have one Father. You have one. He's in heaven. Nor are you to be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Messiah. The greatest among us must be the servant of all. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You shut the door to the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You never enter, nor do you allow those who are trying to enter in. You blind guides! You say if someone swears by the temple, it means nothing. But anyone who swears by the gold of the temple is bound by an oath. You blind fools! Which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes the gold sacred? You also say if anyone swears by the altar, it means nothing. But anyone who swears by the gift on the altar is bound by an oath. You blind men, which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? He's talking about us. He's not talking about what goes on in the literal churches. We're the ones that matter. We're the kingdom of God. We're supposed to be the ones where the gift is offered to God. I give myself a living sacrifice. But they're not teaching that. They're teaching you how to sing and lift up your hands. We need to return to God. So are they? Are they? If you're returning to hypocrites and blind guides, are they? You give 1/10 of your spices, your mint, your dill, your cumin, but you've neglected the most important thing: justice, mercy, faithfulness. You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former. You blind guides! It doesn't matter how many times you sing a song. It doesn't matter how many times you tithe or how many times you help people find a seat at your local church. What matters is love and mercy and compassion. Woe to you, teachers and hypocrites, you Pharisees. You're like whitewashed tombs. You all look beautiful on the outside, but inside you're full of dead men's bones. And everything inside of you is unclean. In the same way, on the outside, you appear to people as righteous. This whole thing appears like it's a righteous work. But on the inside, how many people there really are changing their lives? How many really love other people? How many in there are going to condemn other people because they're different or not believing the way they believe? How many there are selfish and greedy and lustful? This is the thing. He calls them snakes. You brood of vipers. How are you going to escape when you're condemned to hell? How are you going to escape? So, you should read that chapter. I don't want to read it because my voice is so shot. But listen, y'all, if this is what Christianity has become today, no more turning the other cheek, screaming for Jesus Barabbas instead of Jesus the Christ, there's a problem. There's a problem. So in any event, listen, let me come on over here and let me say goodbye to everybody. This was a great time. I really think that there's so much strange stuff going on in the world today that for us not to think that there's something going down, you'd have to be silly, especially when you got people sharing rune stones, laying out what's going to happen. Let's take a look at that one more time, because that really just blew my mind. That whole thing, so strange. Here, look at this. Look at this. That's from 2019. What are the odds of that? On the bottom, you see all the toxic hazards, the burning chemicals, the wackadoos, the virus, the UFOs. Maybe these people are in on it all. Maybe they know it all. You know, we got 2,000 people here. It's amazing, amazing. You tell me in the comment section if you want more live shows, more produced shows. You tell me what you think, and you tell me if this revival is a good thing, because you know what? I hope it is. I hope it is. You know, I hope it is. And James Manfield says, Jacob's going to mention me. You watch. So there you go, James. I appreciate all you. I've seen you all for so long. I appreciate you all. Franz, thank you for coming. Wendy, Mr. Bean, thank you for coming. Thank you, all of you. And if I missed any super chats, do me a favor and email me so I can personally thank you myself. Please do share the channel around. Please tell people about it. Please hit the like. Please leave a comment. 420 later, you to bro too. Go for broke, thank you. Go for broke wants me to keep going. I can't keep going. My voice is shot. I'm tired. RJ Love says live shows. You know, I got to tell you, I'll do more live shows if you want, but I got to see it in the comment section. When you comment, it really helps. Jerry Lynn, a mixture. I like a mixture too, Jerry. I like a mixture too. All right. I love you all. Happy Sunday to you.